What's up, guys? This is Justin. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. It is truly a privilege and a blessing and an honor to be with you guys here today. So as we continue to talk about how to persuade others and ourselves to the best life possible, in this episode we are talking about how to make our lives look how we really want it to look, right? So that's an important question. So have you ever looked around and you see these people? Of course we have, right? I have too. These crazy, incredible lives, these enormous lives. And like a Jennifer Lopez or Michael Jordan, or just these incredible people, and it's like, how in the hell did they do that, right? It's like, man, that's crazy. And so it's like, what would that look like for us, and how could we do that if it's even possible? Are they superhuman, or can we ever even do anything like that? And I think that we can. So to illustrate how this works, I think we first need to figure out, okay, well, where are we right now? And why is it that we're stuck right now? What is it that's holding us back now? So there's this story that in the circus with the elephants, they have to figure out a way to make those big elephants stay there so they don't run away. So what they do is, when the elephant is really small, they drive a stake into the ground, and the elephant tries to get away, and he just can't do it. And at some point he gives up, right? He gives up, and then he grows up and he becomes really big elephant. But he never runs away, because in his mind he's still stuck where that plank is, because he tried and he just couldn't do it. And they say that human beings, that we're a lot like this way too, where whether from our family or from our friendships or from whatever it is, we kind of have our own stake that's stuck in the ground that we can't get out of, where we can only go so far to the right or so far to the left or so far up or so far down, but we're just stuck, right? And maybe it was failures as a child or whatever it was, but we're stuck. And so it's like, how do we get out of that? So I think there's two really big things that will help us to get out of that. The first, I think, is understanding that life is really short. So what do I mean by that? What I mean is, if life is super long, then you don't really have to make changes quickly, right? You could say, okay, well, I could make these changes later. Maybe one day I'll change. Maybe one day I'll be different. Maybe one day I'll improve, but that day isn't right now. So I think when you view life as being a little bit longer than it might be, we're not guaranteed anything. We don't know how much time we have. So I think when we live with the urgency, when we live with, okay, well, what if I only had 5 minutes or 5 hours or 5 days or 5 years, we would treat that a lot differently, and we would be forced to kind of take action towards what we want right now. So understanding, asking yourself each day, what would I do with this time if the time was very short, and then that was going to be it? Forces us to take action, forces us to do something right now. So the second thing, guys, besides that, is an activity that really helped me by Brian Tracy. If you don't know who that is, check him out. He's amazing. So what he talks about is, just take 15 minutes, a sheet of paper, or type on the computer. I'm gonna go like this. And what you're gonna do is, you're gonna write out everything that you could possibly think of that you would do if it was impossible to fail. If you could do anything, if you were guaranteed to be successful, what would that look like? What would you do? And see, for us, for human beings, it's funny, because we're very like, okay, well, yeah, I would do blah blah, but I can't, right? We can't do it. But the funny thing is that when we're asked this hypothetical question of, well, what would you do if, like, yes, I know that I can't, but if I could, what would that look like, right? And so when we ask ourselves that, all of a sudden all these things start coming out, and those things that are coming out, that's what's actually true for us. That's what we really feel, that's inside of us when we're not editing ourselves. So guys, I do this a lot, and it can take time. Not everybody is a doctor, wants to be a doctor when they're 5, and then they grow older and they become a doctor and they live happily ever after. A lot of us, we need to figure this out, and it kind of, is a path. And so this is an activity that I do pretty much every week, sometimes multiple times a week, and it helps give me a lot more clarity of, okay, yeah, what would that look like? If life were perfect, what would that look like? If it was impossible to fail, what would that look like? And so it's really something I want you guys to ask yourselves, because whatever answers start to come out, that's what you really want. And that's a really powerful way to figure it out. And then the other part of that, guys, is clarity. So again, this is from Brian Tracy, also something that really helped me is, and this is something that I kind of think of as an analogy with this, is like Google Maps. So let's say if you want to go to a restaurant, right, but you type restaurant in Google Maps, that could take you anywhere, right? Maybe a type of food you don't want, maybe some bad reviews, maybe it's freaking closed because of the hours, or maybe it's closed because it was shut down because it sucks. So But if you want a certain type, let's say I want Mexican food, so I'll do tacos, and it needs to be within, 5 minutes. It has to have 4.5 rating, it has to have 200 reviews, and it has to be open, and I have to be able to get there quickly. So now I know where I'm going. Or maybe the address plus the city plus the name of the street plus the zip code. Now I know exactly where I'm going, and my likelihood of getting there is way, way, way higher. So, for example, car. You say I want a car, or nice car. Maybe the car that you end up with wasn't really what you wanted. You want a nice home. Maybe the home that you end up with is, like a $80,000 home, and it's like nice for a year or two, and then it collapses. So we really have to define, okay, I want a nice car. So for me, what I wanted was, I wanted a black Corvette, new body style, convertible. And I got it because I knew exactly what I wanted. I knew how many miles I wanted it to have on it. I knew approximately how much I wanted it to cost. And that really helps because I knew, okay, what I was looking for, and I was gonna get there somehow. So guys, the clarity, really, really, really powerful. So again, like the elephant with the stake in the ground, we get kind of stuck, and we have these walls that we feel like we can't get past, but actually there is a way to do it. And the most powerful ways that I've seen of the things that I've learned so far that have been working for me are what Brian Tracy says, of just that idealization of, okay, if everything was possible, if it was impossible to fail, if you could have anything and do anything, not what you think you could have, but what would be possible if anything was possible. Start writing that out as fast as you can without even editing it, and you're gonna start to find the things. And then be as clear as you possibly can of, okay, I wanna be successful. So what does that mean? What would that feel like, it look like, it tastes like, by what date? Be as tangible with it as possible so that you can get there. So guys, I hope that this was helpful for you. This is something that has really helped me a lot. Again, I think it's something that takes time. I think he needs to do this activity over and over and over and get more and more clarity. And then of course there's effort that goes into it, and there's a million things that go into being successful and have these giant lives like these people that we see. But I think it's first understanding that there's that stake in the ground that's trapping us, but we're not really trapped. And then just kind of being able to think hypothetically of if anything was possible, and that really, really can start to get you onto the path of knowing, okay, well, this is where I really want to go. So guys, if this was helpful, please like the video, please subscribe, please check out my other ones. It's truly, like I said, an honor and a privilege to be with you guys here. I'm glad that you're here with me. Lots and lots of love, and I will talk to you next week.